A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. The second research is the type of Islamic economics. Introductory questions. First, is the Quran a book in natural and social science, or is it a divine approach to life that includes a reference to science? What is the meaning of the Allah Almighty saying, وَنَزَّلْنَا عَلَيْكَ الْكِتَابَ تِبْيَانًا لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ? And we have sent down to you the book as clarification for all things. Mention a provision of Islam related to the economic aspect. Fourth, what is the opposition of Islam on natural sciences and others? The difference between economics and economic doctrine. The word economics is used in two areas, economics and economical doctrine. Knowing the difference between science and doctrine in the field of economics benefit us two important things. First, knowledge of the quality of Islamic economics. The second is to nullify the suspicions of skeptics of the existence of economics in Islam. Economic is the laws that govern economic life. As for economic doctrine, it is a way to organize economic life. In order for the difference between knowledge and doctrine to be fully clear, we will give an example. One of these two questions ask you. First, what are the laws that govern your brother's behavior? Second, how would you like your brother to behave? There is no doubt that your answer to the two questions will be different, because your answer to the first question will be merely an honest presentation of the rules and laws governing your brother's actual behavior, whether his behavior is good or bad. You may say he is honest and faithful to me, and you may say that he is a liar who does not keep the covenant and does not help others because he is influenced by the bad companions. You here indicate the status of the actual behavior of your brother, and this is included in the science of behavior and not in the doctrine of behavior. As for the answer to the second question, you will choose for your brother the correct behavior way in which you believe and call for it. In other words, behavior doctrine. For example, he says, I would like my brother to be committed to Islamic behavior, honest, loyal, and devout. In the economic field, we also face two different questions. What are the laws that govern economic life, regardless of the way it adopts it? Second, what is the method adopted by economic life? The answer to the first question is economics, which studies the moment of event in economic life and conveys to us its image as it does in reality. The answer the second question is the economic doctrine, which shows the correct way in which economic relations should be regulated. Economics talks about what exists. It tries to discover what lies in economic life and formulate it in the form of laws. As for economic doctrine, it talks about what economic life should be alike. Economic research and literature, if it calls for the adoption of a particular economic trend, is economic and doctrinal research, and if it does not adopt a specific trend and suffices with mentioning what the economic reality is. It is research in economics. There is some research that confuses sciences and doctrine in economics. Among the laws of economics, first the law related to the price and demand. In a free market in which the prices of goods are not determined by a higher authority such as the government, the price of the commodity is related to the amount of demand for it. The more demand and the more desire to buy the commodity, the higher the price, and if the demand is less on, the price will decrease. Second, the iron of wages. The wages of workers, if they are fee free and not formally determined by a higher authority, are not more than the amount that the worker is entitled to subsistence living. If it exceeds the amount, this was a temporary thing, because the increase in wages leads to an increase in the number of workers. As a result of the improvement of their conditions and their desire to marry and bear children, and the increase in workers leads to an abundance of labor and lower wages accordingly. These two laws exist in the market that is ruled by the capitalist economy, and the world of economics does not discuss market regulation in this or that way, because its field is to discover what is happening in the economic reality and formulate it in general laws. Whether his economic reality is capitalist, socialist, or Islamic. As for economic doctrine, it deals with the freedom of the market itself to judge it by right or wrong. Either he accepts it as a valid as just way, or he rejects it and comes in another way to regulate economic life. In Islam, economic doctrine, not economics. Those who deny the existence of Islamic economics say the Holy Quran and Sunnah of the Prophet there are no laws such as the law relating the price to demand and the iron law for wages. And this is evidence of the absence of economics in Islam. The answer, these people want Islam to have a study of the laws of economics. They are like those who want to have in Islam a study of the laws of physics and others. But Islam is not an academic science, it is a way of life. Therefore, it brought an economic doctrine, not an economics. That is, it comes with a new way to recognize economic life. This does not mean that Islam does not care about economics. The position of Islam and on economics is the same as that of all other sciences. It encourages the acquisition of all useful science and creates condition for them. Allah Almighty has given a human mind and urged him to study the global and social phenomena around him to discover the laws that control them and to use them in what bring him happiness in this worldly life. On the other hand, Islam guarantee the disclosure of good legislation in the field of economics, politics, ethics, etc. He stressed the need to adhere to it and reject other human system. The Almighty said, وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْكَافِرُونَ. And whosoever does not judge by what Allah has revealed, sure are the disbelievers. And if God, if and if I, and if Allah Almighty wanted to show people the laws of a science such as physics, or for example, He would have sent them countless volumes in this science, because Allah's knowledge is broad and does not end at anyone. Allah Almighty be Him. Allah Almighty says, ولو أن ما في الأرض من شجرة أقلام والبحر يمده من بعد سبعة أبحر. And if all the trees on the earth were pens and the sea were ink, with seven seas behind it to increase it, yet the words of Allah would not be exhausted. Verily, Allah is Almighty and All-Wise. The primary task of Islamic legislation is to guide people to the correct method of dealing in all areas, including the economic one. For this reason, Islam did not explain the reason that lead to an increase in usurious interest, for example, but it ruled usury as an incorrect economic transaction and prohibited riba interest, and from this we know that Islam adopt economic issues as a doctrinal rather than scientific position, according to the advanced stream. Conclusion: economic doctrine is a way of organizing economic life. Economic is the study of laws that govern economic life without adopting a particular economic trend or doctrine. Islam has brought an economic doctrine that fully organizes the economic life of Muslims.